CV preparation can be quite a daunting task for most. Times change, so what to put in, what to leave out, what is relevant, what to leave to the interview perhaps, some of the typical questions that go through their mind. So hopefully today I'll be able to cover off on a few points in terms of format and content. It's important to note as a precursor before getting your CV started that it will vary from industry to industry and role to role, so perhaps speak with your recruiter and they can give you some ideas on nuances that might exist in your space. But in a nutshell, some key points in terms of format. Don't stick to the rule that your CV must fit to one page. This is not the case. You want to make sure that your CV does you justice. At the same time, you need to find that happy medium. We don't want an absolute novel where you're going to lose the reader's interest in the first paragraph. So if we can concentrate on putting your succinct achievements and accomplishments in a few bullet points, this will also show the reader that you're clear, concise, and you know how your role is defined and measured. Some other areas to be mindful of, not too many fonts in your CV, so try and stick to 2. Another thing to avoid is using glaring statements or typical buzzwords such as team player, I'm a multitasker, great organisational skills. I mean, these typically come through many CVs and don't really set you apart. Instead, it's important to concentrate on what sets you apart, what you will bring to the company, why they will benefit from bringing someone like you on board. So try and think about accomplishments, how you've contributed to the company, specific projects you've been involved. It's not to say you can't get the message across that you're a multitasker, but just in another way. So, you know, for example, I worked 3 projects simultaneously, your key role on each project and how you managed your time or prioritised. Now, on that note, I appreciate for some people it is hard to sell themselves and articulate some of their accomplishments. I'm sure salespeople going for sales role, this would be second nature. Some key perhaps questions you can pose in helping you prepare for this is, you know, where have you contributed in the organisation? What are some projects in particular that you're most proud of? If you're a technical expert, where have you made significant contributions, for example? And this, you know, once you get flowing, they should come quite easily. Some other key questions you might like to ask yourself are things like, you know, have you had a promotion? What led to that promotion? Have you trained people? Why were you chosen to train them? Has your scope of work been changed? Have you taken on senior responsibilities? And, you know, from there you'll be able to articulate some of the reasons why and your accomplishments around those areas. In regards to cover letters, a lot of our candidates ask, should they include one? How important are they? Typically in this day and age when, you know, CVs are sent over the internet, often we encourage them just to write, you know, a few brief points in the body of the email so the attachment doesn't get overlooked. Often it won't even be opened by recruiters. So if you can keep it to the window pane, a few succinct points again, perhaps bold any key areas or phrases that you want to stand out. And if you can liken it to the job description, if there is much of a specification of what's required, address those points rather than massive paragraphs trying to sell yourself, which may not be relevant to the role. In summary, a great resume isn't necessarily going to land you your next job, but it could be the difference between getting a face-to-face interview. Just recently I had an example with a candidate of mine who was a great guy, very skilled and capable of doing the role that I was working, but his CV purely did not do him justice. Fortunately, I had a good relationship with my client, which helped me be able to sell his skills, but also at the same point, he did revamp his CV, took a lot of this feedback on board, and it was the difference. So not only did he get an interview, he was successful in landing the job in the end as well. Hopefully these few brief points have given you a bit more of an insight as to what would put together a good CV, but feel free to speak to your recruiter and based on your background and industry, they'll be able to give you some more tailored points so you can specifically draft a winning CV.